for myself, I was always taught that you can have anything you want. And so I just kept clinging to that. And it was just years of trying to get the things that I thought would make me complete or happy or seen. And then I always came back to this point of even when I did get certain things, right, you don't, it loses its appeal after a while and you're
Mm.
back at it. So I finally did read Eckhart Tolle's book and I was like, oh, this is not focusing on just getting money or getting a person or getting, and I really liked it. And I had meditated years ago for all throughout university
Yeah, wow, yeah.
and didn't know at the time what it really was,
Mm.
right? There was a lot of, oh, awareness is the blue sky and the thoughts are clouds, but I don't think I really understood it to a more spiritual level.
Mm.
And then with all my knowledge of the law and all of that, I knew exactly what they were talking about, this presence, but I hadn't tapped in or experienced it because I just wanted my stuff.
Yeah, yeah. You thought the goodies were outside. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, now I'm just in this place where I'm trying to strip away all the knowledge because it didn't, I don't want to say it didn't get me anywhere. It's just, it's good to have. Um, but it's not the truth of who we are when you're just constantly seeking more information.
Mm. Mm.
And I don't want to be in that space anymore. It's actually really hit or miss kind of in terms of you're still in mind, you're still in that mind made self the entire time.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'll feel good for a bit and then
It's a
um
temporary fix. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you get thrown back into your experiences and you or as they say, you go back to sleep often as a result.
Mm.
So I really liked your channel because it was just simple and the truth. There was no do it this way or here's the steps, read these books. So it's really refreshing.
Mm. Mm. So it's the direct experience of who you are.
Hmm. Exactly.
So I'm just sitting with that, resting in clarity, really.
Hmm.
Up the mind and thinking of how to get you there because you're already home.
Yeah, I'm already here,
Yeah,
aware of this conversation, and
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if I said, are you aware? You don't go to a mind to check. You don't need mental activity. You're just aware.
you just are. Yeah.
And you're aware that you're aware.
Yeah.
And just stay there. So you're just aware that you're aware.
Mm.
So what tends to happen, and I don't know whether it happens for you, what happens is then there's a thought appears in the awareness that then our attention goes towards it. Yes, but this can't be it because where's the bliss or something like that. This can't,
Hmm.
not just this, it's too easy, whatever the thought is. And then if our attention engages with a thought, that's how, let's call it life, that's how life engages with itself. So it'll have that
Right.
experience, identify with it. You think it's you thinking. That's the experience anyway. And then there'll be another thought, and then another thought of about, well, then if that were, how do I get to there then? If that, and then off we go in this
Yeah.
narrowed down way of thinking. The mental activity is a tool that
Mhm.
just awareness aware of itself can adopt the mental realm. But can you
Right.
see it's total clarity is adopting? How do I get there?
Yeah.
Total
Yeah.
clarity is
Exactly.
adopting.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, or the thought of, oh, this is it. I'm doing it.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing it. So it claims
Yeah.
it. Yeah, there's an I that claims it. So it's
Yeah.
recognizing what this I appears when attention goes towards a thought, because the thoughts can appear in the space. We don't have to pick them
Right.
up
Right.
because who they're coming to.
Yeah. To awareness.
So is that a conceptual answer you just told me? Or is that
Absolutely.
direct? Okay, okay. So I'm going to stop you when you apply stuff because you are aware and you are aware that you're aware.
Mhm.
Just awareness, aware of itself. And then there's a thought. But there's no I. It's not coming to an I, is it? Now don't go to concept. I want you to directly experience that there's no I, is there? Is there an I
No,
in being? Is that your direct experience? That there is no I here now. We're not denying experiences of I's, of this I, this me, this my. But in direct experience, that's not concepts, thoughts, and ideas. Is there an I in being? We're just being here now. Can you
mm,
directly experience without thoughts, concepts, and ideas that what you are is just awareness, aware of whatever comes and goes, but there's no I here. That's your direct experience. It's this awareness. Where does it end? Or is it formless?
there's no words to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing is what we do is we go to concepts and ideas and then we're out in a mental activity because the mind is limited and it only contrasts and compares. It's a tool of comparison. It's for the world of
Mm,
duality. So it looks at division, it contrasts and compares it. It can't contrast and compare something that's already whole and complete. That's an addition to what's already whole and complete that isn't apart from itself. So it can't
right,
compare anything. So if this is the comparing mind, it's got nothing to compare because it's already in the game of duality, and what you are is fundamentally not even in the game. I know it's a bit of a shocker, but what you
yeah,
are isn't even in the game. What fundamentally are. It's what
right,
gives birth to the game.
right.
It's the stillness in which the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the dance appears. You
Mm,
will, if we imagine like a circle, and this is just how I can speak about it, there is this wholeness that contains all of the thoughts, feelings, emotions, the apparent
mhm,
others. They're all appearing in the wholeness. You are the wholeness.
right,
So you're not in the game. Yet the game appears, the game is also not apart from you because you're the wholeness.
right,
So it's appearing in you, the wholeness. So it's a bit like something like gold can be shaped into lots of different things, but it never leaves gold.
right. It
Yeah.
just is gold.
It's still, yeah. So you
Yeah.
just are, but yet within it, it can shape and pattern itself. What you are can shape and
Mm,
pattern itself, appear as another, but it's never altered. It never leaves itself. You see what I mean?
right. It
Just,
can't. It
yeah,
can't.
it can't.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah, there's that saying, wherever you go, there you are. But
Yeah,
the more you understand the depth of that and what that means,
yeah.
like honestly, there's no separation. You can't separate
No.
yourself from the container, essentially.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
we're
the
just framing it in
containers.
that way, but the container is actually formless. We're just
Yeah,
we're trying to create a little something in order to speak about it. But in fact, when we
yeah.
don't experience it, there is no thing here to
There's no
talk about. Like you
words.
said, there was no words, which was beautiful.
Hmm.
You know, what you felt, what you directly experienced, couldn't be spoken about because it's what you are. And what you are isn't separate from anything. It doesn't have a
Identity.
no, it has nothing to rub itself up against. You know,
Mm,
it's attributeless. So, in order to know itself, does it create all this world of duality, the opposites? Does it
mm,
create the feeling of being bound in order to know freedom? So that's
yeah.
why we've got these dualities. They're pointing us home. So that's why
Right.
they say, oh, that person that's driving you mad is your best teacher.
Mm, hmm.
You know, if they're being very judgmental, and what we can do is enter separation. We can play the game, we can appear,
Yeah.
and we can enter separation and judge them. So we've got two, it's just how we can dance. Or we can
Mm,
recognize the opposite. So they're judging, so I'm total acceptance.
Right.
Yeah. How does that feel?
So much better.
Oh, it's this freedom itself, isn't it? Again.
Yeah.
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 So if we've got judgment and we've got total acceptance, that's within the dream. What you are is not even in the dream. So we look at it from not even in the dream.
Yeah, because you're aware of both of those
Oh,
things.
because
Yeah.
that's how life can, the spectrum of experience that life can have.
Right.
So it can appear as unity or separation, any of those divisions. It can see itself in total oneness or it can see itself divided. It can experience itself as those. But
Right.
you are what's witnessing that. It's an even
Yeah.
game.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
your
The more you
direct
think of that.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
It's what you are. It's
Mm.
untouched, unaltered.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just observe.
So if we potentially close our eyes and there is this point of view that's observing, absolutely. So say we're looking for an eye. We're doing a little bit of self-inquiry. There's all this dancing. There's an experience of a separate self and we're looking for it. So there's a point of view looking for the eye. And I would offer that there's just this emptiness when we look. There's no actual eye. But there is this sense of looking, attention on this empty spaciousness. But can that attention turn towards the looker and notice that even the looker dissipates when we turn towards it? And potentially what we're left with is a dissipation of everything. So this is direct experience. So there's still potential to go to thoughts, create a story about what's here, but actually there's nothing here fundamentally. Yet we can create, we can, life can engage with itself by turning that attention towards the game of duality. So that's how life engages with itself. That's how the emptiness dances. So how was that for you, that turning towards?
Yeah. It's hard to put it into words. It does dissipate and there's like constant layering because the moment you look at it, maybe the mind comes in and, like you said, creates a story, and then you look at that and then that dissipates. So it's constantly not trying to be
Potential, isn't there? Still
yeah,
available.
exactly. It's always there to identify with.
Yeah.
And
But it's a potential. It's not a
it's not a constant.
no.
No,
What's
definitely not.
constant is
Just
that
that.
can't be spoken about. That we are. Just this.
Yeah, it's the
Just thisness. But it's all come to attention, you see. So I think what was happening is we turned towards the looker dissipates. If you just stayed with that, but what happened is that potentially I'm offering a thought appeared, and then the attention went to the thought, and then it was like, oh, what's that? Oh, okay. So we're engaging a bit. But if
Mhm.
it stayed with the no thing, the
Yeah,
thoughts could have appeared, but our attention doesn't have to go to them. And then they just
right.
don't, they just die. That doesn't mean that's your everyday experience because once you turn towards the world of duality, then you've got potential for anything. But
Right.
you've recognized that you are the fundamental formless awareness
Mm,
that's aware of it all, that can engage or not. So it's just working out what the mechanism is, how the mind comes on, how we pick up
right.
the dualistic tool by attention. So, so what we were doing is you are awareness. And you're aware that you're aware. So attention has gone this way. And then
Mhm.
the thought appears and attention turns and goes towards the thought. and then or an
Yeah.
emotion. So the movement isn't you. The movement is
Right.
attention, but we can adopt the I when with that movement. So it's to see the movement and to be okay. Okay. But okay. So and if your attention goes towards a thought and then you start having a mind loop, you can come out and go, oh, hang on a minute. And I'm saying you can, but obviously it's only your attention. So then we follow the thread of attention back home and realize we never left. What we are never left.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
attention.
because to me it's like we're aware of that even let me see if I can get this right. Because it is explaining something that doesn't make sense, but it does. If I'm watching something, I can see my attention going somewhere and then coming back and then going
Oh,
and
great.
like we're aware of even yeah, like aware of being stuck on a thought or being aware of
Yeah.
that
What's at the
attention.
root of it is
Yeah,
you're aware. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
The awareness never leaves. Yet there's an
No.
experience of, oh, I need to get back to like presence. Oh, I need to become present again. Well, no, you didn't lose presence, but attention went towards you just were dancing in the mental, physical, and emotional. But what was dancing was presence.
Yeah, awareness.
Oh, yeah, present moment awareness.
You're right.
Yeah, never left home.
Yeah. No.
Just an appearance that we can identify with. We can say, I got lost.
No, I noticed the reason I booked this too, and I wanted to just because what we're talking about is exactly what um had come naturally was you're told like with let's say difficult emotions or emotions to just observe them. But I was taking on a character
With the
of I'm
observer,
observing.
you role.
Yes. If I observe these will go away.
Yeah, yeah. So
Or
there's
if
a
I
doer.
observe,
There's a doer.
there's still an identification with something, an I
Hmm.
that is
Well, that's
doing
normal if
that
you're
is
going towards it thinking, I'm going to do it. You've already adopted the I. The I is already engaged.
right away. Yeah,
Gaze and go,
exactly.
I'm the one that's got to do it. Whereas we can drop the I, we can recognize we are formless awareness. Oh, there's a
Mm,
thought. I don't have to go towards it. There's an emotion. Okay, that's interesting. It can be there. It's not my emotion. It's an emotion.
right,
So unless I pick up an I that it belongs to, it's but so we don't deny it, but we don't want to get rid of it. We don't need to do anything with it. Slowly, these contractions or whatever they are, resistance or will just die because you're not paying attention to it. Because it has no fuel. It's the dream, the dance, the game. So it has no fuel without attention.
right.
The pattern, so the conditioning, the patterned behavior that was thought that belongs to an I. It still has the potential to dance, but it's just attention going towards it that feeds the patterning. Once the
Mm,
pattern's not picked up, it just slowly dies by itself. Um, and there's a recent way that if there's something so I had something that kept coming back, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting because it wasn't triggering me. There was no push and pull, but it was showing up in life. You know,
mm,
something, a pattern that kept showing up. And I'm like, okay, so well, this is still showing up. So there's no I adopted to need to do anything. It's not bothering me, but it is what's appearing in my life. You know, it's and it got really, really strong. And I was like, okay, this is really appearing now. It was judgment. So I was being judged, and sent nasty emails, life-threatening emails from being on YouTube. So I was like,
oh
this is
gosh.
bizarre. So
Yeah,
I put judgment. You see, if I'd gone to judgment, they shouldn't be doing that to me. I'd have picked up an eye that it's happening to,
right.
and the suffering, and then there's blame, and then the separation. So you enter the game. So I didn't do that, but I could see, okay, so there's judgment. What's the opposite of judgment? Total acceptance.
Mm,
I think before what was happening is there was judgment appearing, and I'd meet it from neutrality, which was what I'd heard, but there was a subtle eye thinking if I do that, it'll go. Can you see? It's so
yes.
subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd been, oh, I'll meet it with neutrality. So I was needing it to go. There was a
Yeah.
subtle I meeting it from neutrality. But if I allow both judgment and acceptance in the same space and recognize that I am the awareness of it,
Yes.
not as a me, identified me as awareness. No, as that can't be spoken about, the stillness in which gives birth to it all. We'll pop that little label on.
Right.
It just, the wave just died.
Yeah.
Just died.
That's
I was like, oh,
incredible.
so it's the duality. You put, but you accept both. Because what we tend to do on the spiritual journey, we favor one. So we negate
Yes.
another by choose. Oh, I'm going to choose this one. Subtly we're playing the game of, well, I'll have that and not that. So we're separating again. Whereas
Yeah,
this,
it's just another way of separation. That's exactly right. And how I felt in learning the law and manifestation was it was always said, just choose what you want.
Mm.
But you're absolutely right. That's still being in the game. It's still there's still
There's still
resistance
somebody who
to
needs something instead of, well, you're already whole and complete. Who needs to?
exact and
You're
stepping back
operating
and going,
because they say act as if it's already happened or whatever they say, isn't it? Something like that. Well, you already are whole and complete. You are abundance. You are.
exactly. So everyone's always like, well, how do I act being it? And they would always say, well, you already are. And then that's not because we're coming from an I.
Still, yeah, still creating an eye that wants something. And then you're saying, yes,
Yeah.
the eye's already whole and complete. We're still playing with the eye, still in the game. You
Yeah,
stepped out of the
exactly.
game to see,
Yeah.
oh,
And so the way, if you did know that, then fine, you could have fun with the game. But it's not usually people who understand or have that awareness yet or
they probably
truly
know the law
understand.
of attraction really well, but
Yeah,
potentially
in
are
theory.
pointing from the already wholeness. Potentially they haven't
Exactly.
recognized that they are the wholeness. So there's still, I don't know, it obviously depends on who's teaching it and also how it's being received.
Yeah.
Like you say, they
Yeah,
may well
exactly. It goes
be,
both ways. Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
could be
It's
saying all the things,
all the right
but
things.
if you, yeah, but if
You're
you're not,
taking it right. I've got to do that then. I've got to say I'm the wholeness. I mean, it's completely understandable. It's very innocent
yeah,
and sweet, really, what we're all doing.
it is really cute when you look back on
It
it. Like I
is.
think
Yeah.
I want to just give that identity a hug because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like, oh my
you were trying
goodness.
so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cute because you realize, oh, the awareness is aware of all of that, the entire whatever that identity, that version, that whatever that person, the I doing all of that.
The appearance.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that gives me more peace knowing who I really am was always around, just observing it.
Well, you
There's
can't
no
not be
judgment,
who
there's
you are.
nothing.
You
Yeah,
can't.
exactly. You can't.
No, you can't leave what you are. Yet we feel like, oh, I need to find my true nature and I've lost it. And how can we lose what we are? Once you've recognized it, you're like, oh, hang on a minute. I'm already home. Hang on.
Yeah,
Where would we go
yeah,
if we
you
were
can't.
leaving our true nature? But it's
Exactly.
understandable because there's an experience of two positions. There's an experience of true nature and there's an experience of the mind-made self, the ego. So,
Mm,
but all of those are appearing in all those positions are just how life can engage with itself. That's when you're playing the game, you're in the dream, playing the game,
mhm,
but you recognize your fundamental true nature. So you're you operate in unity. So in the heart space, so then life gets to
mm,
experience the body mind from
right.
the heart center. So you're in unity. So everybody you see is you.
Yes.
That's where we get, life playing the game, not a you, but we call it you, but you is life playing the game using the physical body, but we can also see that we are formless fundamentally. So you
Hmm.
get to experience both again. You're not shunning anything. So what
Right.
I recognized the other day was it's oh my God, I was like, oh, I've come full circle. Because there's the identification with the body mind, there's just a little me, and here I am. We all live that life for quite a long time. And then there's the recognition, oh, I'm not the body mind, which is what Eckhart
Mm,
teaches. So that's
yeah.
sometimes the first glimpse, oh, I'm not the body mind. And then we negate the things that we're not and we recognize what we are. And then you come all the way around to go, oh, I'm not only the body mind, because we recognize, oh,
Mm,
we can play in the body, we're alive playing in the body mind. So
Yeah.
not denying the body mind. We're that as well. We're everything. There's no
Yeah.
separation. The body mind is an experience appearing in what we are. And we can adopt the
Yeah.
body mind, or we can. So we get to experience both. We get to experience our formless nature and our form. But we never we never fix. That's what
Mm-mm.
we do. We're sort of fixing our identity on the form because that's how we were
Yeah.
taught. That's how everybody else is playing the game. So you can play
Yeah.
unbound and totally free. So life gets to then play it awake. So
Yeah.
it's so funny. So we've got journeying that we've all experienced. I experienced journeying, all those practices, all those stepping stones, all those things, listening to Eckhart. And then you get to hold. So in this wholeness that I was pointing to, in the circle, you've got journeying and already home.
Right.
And what's aware of it isn't even in the game.
I know that's blowing, well, not my mind, but maybe because minds can't conceptualize
Yeah.
what, but that's exactly right. The more you step back and go, I'm aware of the two options or the
Reality.
opposites, yeah, then I can't be those things. I just physically can't. I have to be the one aware of them.
Put it really quickly. A lot of people wouldn't get it this quickly. I'm not even taking you into a meditation or anything. Most I have to guide people,
Hmm.
drop them out of their mind so they directly experience, just like here now, you're just directly experiencing the body in the chair.
Yeah.
We can peel away the labels and there's just an experience of sensations. Peel away the labels. It's just what's left. We don't have to apply concepts or thoughts or ideas. It's just direct experience. And there can be sounds, there can be sensations, there can be thoughts, but they're all neutral. They're all just appearing in the space. They have to do anything with them. They have to create a story about them.
Mm.
Strips everything back. It's just how life can divide everything up with the mental activity, draw, create separation. Or we can peel back all the labels and recognize that it's one seamless tapestry made out of the same thing. What I often point to is opening your focus and resting back in the body because it's the separate self is here wanting to get something from that world, thinking it's not already whole and complete. It's looking in the wrong direction. That's why I turn
Mm.
towards what you are. So it's this resting back in the body, opening your focus instead of narrowing it down, and recognizing that in that resting back we're already home, and home is already whole and complete. Can you feel that? That what you are is already whole and complete. So all that grasping to complete ourselves was only because we were so attention, awareness, aware of itself, or awareness,
Mm.
aware of subject, object. I need to get something.
Yeah.
It's the me in the world that's got to get something because I don't feel whole and complete because that me creates that sense of not being whole and complete. But what we
Yeah.
are, when we turn towards what we are, we're already whole and complete. We don't actually
I
have
know.
anything from the game, but that's not to say you can play in the game. It's not to deny abundance or whatever whatever life wants to experience. But as long as we don't start getting a sticky eye that thinks it's got to manage the moment, it's got to create the moment to be a better way,
Yes.
because we
Yes.
are the moment.
Yeah.
We are the moment. There's no separation. Can you feel that?
No. Yes.
We are the moment. There's nowhere to go if you're the moment, is there? There's nothing to organize. You are the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because having a conversation with someone who does know this, we can both be in awareness while chatting, knowing the words that come out of our mouths, like what we're looking at, is all just in this one experience, awareness. And there's no separation between you and I, anything around me, the body, nothing.
It's just when we create inside outside, we create it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inside and outside.
Yeah.
Until you create it, the concept. So it's non-conceptual awareness.
That's right.
That's why we have to go to direct experience.
Mm,
And then there's just this. You're right. We're just in unity consciousness, just this.
mm.
Little- I see it as like a little modulation. So, because it's not in the game, yet within itself, it can create an experience of a game. So is it just sort of modulating a little avatar to speak to an avatar made out of itself? Can you see?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
vibrating in it, shaping and patterning itself to talk to itself.
Yeah. Silly, really. But it's
Or
fun.
brilliant or amazing
Yeah.
because life's waking up to itself.
Mm,
It's enjoying the journey. So the journey and the falling asleep and the waking up is all part of the game. It's okay. Life, from
yeah.
there's nobody that minds it all. Like you say, you can look back and all that could have been angst, that could have been, many years of seeking, and that was all just how life was dancing.
True. True.
How
Yeah.
wholeness was dancing, a separation.
Yeah. And probably, yeah. Because there's no judgment from awareness, that is what makes me feel, well, again, I don't know how to say this. There's no bad or good past. There's nothing.
No, it's just equanimity, isn't there? Good and bad,
Yeah.
just, just, I feel like I'm like a pane of glass and everything just washes off because
Yeah.
what we all are, that's not saying me or, what everybody out there is total clarity. And
Right.
and then life can sort of veil itself as if it looks through a lens of perception of distortion and sees the
Hmm.
world as all set, but what's looking is total clarity. So everybody out there is total clarity. Seeing
Yeah.
distortion, saying, yes, but look at
Right.
my life. Mine's all distorted. But it's total clarity that's speaking.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Total
It's funny.
clarity that's speaking. There's nobody
That's so true.
lost. Yet,
No.
we do that full circle. What seems to happen is because you recognize as everybody's you in the dream, you then want to look after everybody if they're suffering. You don't need to
Yeah.
fix them because it's their unique
No.
journey. But if they come to you and say, "Listen, I'm suffering," you're not going to say, "Well, tough shit, you wake up."
You're not actually
You're going to
suffering.
say, "Oh no, hang on a minute. Let me show you."
Yeah.
And it's not like you're showing them, but it's in remaining whole. Because obviously, if you adopt an eye that's got to rescue them, then you're in the game again.
That's
I
so
did that.
true.
I did that at the beginning. And I
Yeah.
still had a lot of success. I think life just thought, oh, bless her. Still, there was no I. So I did have a lot of success. But even though I knew there was no agenda, I did feel like responsible when people were coming. But now I recognize it's not mine, it's their journey. If they
Yeah.
get it on a call, it doesn't matter because it's how
Right.
life wants to journey. Because it
Right.
tastes sweetness if you've got that angst of feeling lost and vulnerable, and the sweetness is in recognizing your total freedom.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know
You're the
that
one
sweetness if you've
recognizing.
not had the opposite.
Mm.
It's total joy, isn't it? When you see
Oh,
it.
it is. It's so funny because as we're talking, right, my mind keeps giving me exactly what you said, suffering or like problems.
Yeah.
It's like,
But what
ask her
about
about
this?
this, ask her about this. And I'm like, I don't need to. I'm aware of
Yes.
them coming up exactly.
Yeah, you've
And
you've got the
it wants,
distance.
yeah,
You can see their appearances. They're not yours. I think that's
yeah,
what's tricky. The thoughts people think are theirs. And I couldn't
yes,
explain that for a while. I was like, how on earth? Because obviously, if you look towards them and you're experiencing them, that's the experience you have. They are yours. So, we
yeah,
need to disentangle. That's why we say we're not the body mind in order to get enough distance.
mm,
Have to go, okay, now what's actually happening?
hmm,
They're appearing in what I am. And what I am is impersonal. Can you feel?
yeah,
So these are personal thoughts coming to impersonal awareness.
Yeah,
They don't stick. Now,
right.
it's not to say that there is not the opportunity to pick them back up again. But what happens is if attention goes towards them and you do pick it back up, not that there's a you, but that's how life can experience itself. You can just go, oh, how funny! I picked up a thought. There was an I of a thought, but of course there's no I here. Oh my goodness! And you just get to see how the game works. That sort of narrow. So I show this way of doing it. So this life, like you've just recognized, your total freedom fundamentally.
Yeah,
Yet life can go, oh, it's a game of duality we can play in there. It's looking. So life's looking, freedom is looking in the hole. Yeah, it's all fine. Then it goes, oh, that's interesting. And it's getting a little bit more invested in you're in the game. You've forgotten what's
exactly.
looking is total freedom is looking. You've forgotten. You are the separate self I. You need to sort this out. Those people are behaving really badly. I mean, obviously, in the world of duality, there are these polarities, and so we don't ignore what's appearing. We don't
No.
ignore the suffering. We fundamentally know that there is no I's suffering, but life is believing itself to be a sufferer. So you never
Mm,
ignore that because they are you
yeah,
believing they're separate, attacking others. It's just the extreme. So yes, nobody's touched fundamentally because it's a one player game.
right, right.
Yet that one player can appear as many.
Yeah, I find when I wake up in the morning, the eye is right there, ready to be like, okay,
Ah,
let's
yeah.
play, let's go, and then
Yeah.
you attach to it quickly. So,
But that's attention.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when you wake up in the morning, there'll be some sort of dawning. It might not be so slow,
Mhm.
but some sort of coming online. And then there'll be
Yeah,
a thought, what am I doing today? That
yeah,
thought can just drop. We don't need to go towards it. Doesn't mean you're not
mhm.
going to do something because what
Yeah,
I'm doing is already happening. What tends to
mhm.
happen is there's a commentator. Oh, I did that. Oh, I did that. Oh, I must do that. I've got to do it. Oh, I need to go in the shower. Hold on. How long have I got? What am I doing? So it's constant. It's like a helicopter narrating
Yes,
what's happening, hovering with a commentary about what's happening. But there'll just be what's happening because life was always the only one doing it because there was never an I. Can you see the
right.
helicopter's made of the eye? So
Yeah,
there was only ever love. So in the morning, it's as if the consciousness dawns. That's how I see it. Consciousness dawns, wakes up to itself, and then there's a thought, what am I doing? And we can
mhm.
just allow that to drop. Well, that's interesting, was a thought. Doesn't mean you're not going to check your diary, your phone, or whatever it is, make a coffee.
Mhm.
And then there could be thought, I've got to get in the shower. Again, you just let that drop. Doesn't mean you're not going in the shower. It's just
Right.
all of those things happen. It's just that we're not beholden to this one that is time bound and is creating this sense of shoulds and shouldn'ts and got to do's and the stress and the control and the need the moment to be different. That you forgot to put the hot water on, so there's a cold shower. That one
Yeah,
is annoyed at you itself. It's going to do all of this. There's just cold water. You shower or not, it's up to you. That's
yeah.
facts. There's facts. So we don't deny this thing's happening. But this helicopter commentator person isn't you. When
No,
a thought comes on board, you can just don't have to pick it up.
no. I wonder about that because that's exactly it. The mind tells you, or those thoughts will be, oh, you'll never get anything done if you drop this. You won't, you'll be late for everything. Um, but we're aware of that. And you're right, there's no separation between the experiences and who we really are. So things are going to get done. They're not separate.
Life looks after itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't just give up your job and sit on the sofa.
No.
No, we operate from wisdom. So we're total clarity talking about the dream, yeah, just to get this straight.
Yes.
Because we can start diving into the game if we're not careful. So that's fine. All of it is fine. But now it can play unfiltered. That's a good way of
Right.
putting it. It can play unfiltered. So it can play
Mm.
from wisdom and unity. So it plays from unity because it recognizes everybody is, there's nothing apart from me. Everything is
Hmm.
moving as me, within me. So it was always there. When mental activity dropped, there was always wise thoughts. The mental activity hijacks the wisdom. So it
Right.
could be, oh, I really ought to, I think I ought to take up yoga. Then the mental activity go, oh, not again, not something new. God, we did that last time. You didn't stick with it. Maybe you should go to the, maybe you should just give up on. It's going to show all sorts of stuff depending on patterned behavior. So can you see there's just the wise, there's wisdom is offered up. And we just allow
Mm.
thought. We don't need to manage that thought. Oh, it might be nice to start yoga or whatever it is, singing lessons or whatever it is, whatever life feels like it wants to do. So we don't have to pick up this one. And we also don't
Yeah.
need to manage where, well, how's that going to work? How am I going to do yoga? Well, I can't fit that. We don't have to do any.
No,
There'll be
no,
a
you're absolutely
leaflet.
right.
There'll be your friends saying, hey, do you want to come to yoga? You're like, oh, how bizarre. I was thinking about yoga. It'll be,
Yeah.
so life brings it to you, to itself.
Yeah.
Um, So, and that, but I found that does take a little bit of getting used to because the doer is
Yeah.
the biggest one to drop.
Because if you think about previous to knowing who you are, you'd have thoughts like that. Exactly. You'd have this, oh, I'd love to go here on this vacation. And then you just don't think about it ever again. And then suddenly, months from now, this opportunity shows up and now you're going. Um, I liked, I often say, I wish I didn't know who I was or nothing but manifestation because you were just kind of living ignorantly as this little self. But of course, all the other things that come with just identifying with this I
All the
suffering and
suffering, all the
yeah,
wanting
all
for
of
the
that.
moment to be different. How am I going to do
Yes,
this? And, with that, I am separate is, the contrasting, constant contrasting and comparing. It's an energy
tons.
drain. We have to plug into the game of duality
Hmm.
as the separate I, not as the I am, but as the separate,
Mm,
and that creates like the nervous system is in survival mode to
yeah,
degrees of I'm separate. I've got to, nobody's else is looking after me. I've got to do it. Why me? All of that. Nobody's going to, hand me it on a platter. I've got to get out there. I've got to get a job. I've got to,
yeah,
I've got things to do. Somebody's got to pay the bills, and nobody else is. I'm going to have to. All of those thoughts.
yeah,
That's exhausting. That's
yeah.
just a drain on the. So yes, bills have still got to be paid. Yes, things have still got to be done. It's interesting because it's what I've recognized is life always looks after itself.
It does.
From when we're, even actually in the game of duality, even though you thought it wasn't.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It was still things were still working out for me in the
Okay,
end.
but sometimes, but it was dependent on beliefs. So you
Exactly.
might say, I'll always get by. So what you get is always getting by. So I have had both. I've had the duality. I've had complete effortless success and complete falling
Yes.
away of everything, complete
Yeah.
survival mode.
Yeah. And you're none of those, technically.
No, all of that were appearances in what's totally not even in the game.
Mm-mm.
So we're talking about the character. We're talking about
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. The little eye
how
that had
life,
these
yeah, life
experiences. Yeah.
like a puppet in a way. Life
Hmm.
in a little me suit,
Yeah.
lifing,
Yeah.
meing,
Yeah.
life me.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
potentially all of the stuff, all the experiences at life, because you've always been it.
Right.
You've never not been it. It's all you've ever been.
Right.
It makes me laugh.
It's true.
Yeah, can you see? So everything that we talk about is sort of a story, really.
It's so true. Yeah. Your entire day is a story.
It's like, oh, it's just a blank piece of paper, a new day, brand new,
Yeah.
brand new. And now I see it is actually a blank piece of paper
True.
because it's fresh. Every moment is a
Yeah.
blank piece of paper
Yeah.
because it's like it's on refresh constantly. If we don't go to
Yeah.
the future, it's just refresh, refresh, refresh.
Yeah. And if we don't identify with the stories of the past and like you said, the future, then there is no you don't bring in the story each moment
So you're
to
not
define
counting,
the
you're not
moment.
filtering what's here,
Yeah.
identifying. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is just pure
Yeah.
potential.
Yeah.
And then how do you want to dance? It's
Yeah.
potential from wholeness that doesn't need anything.
Yeah.
That's what they're pointing to, I think, in their law of attraction. Then are you magnetic? Are you vibrating at already whole and complete? To recognizing that fundamentally you don't need anything. I know, so it was quite good for that massive crash for me of everything falling away because I could recognize I was still okay when I
Yeah. No, that's
is
exactly right.
untouched. Not in a way the mind's going to view that because it's going to say, oh, how awful you're disassociating from the chaos that's appearing. No, you're just recognizing the fundamental truth is that you're what you are is not in the dream, yet the dream is appearing in what you are. So you are so there's no separation. So you're the dream and untouched by the dream at the same time. How about that?
Yeah. It's made of you, but you're not
You never
it.
become it. You never
Yeah.
become it. You never become the character. You play the
No,
character, but you
you
never
play it.
become the character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
like
fun to
that.
feel it though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Clarity. It's like, oh, so what was that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Attention going towards thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, now that we did that little practice too, and I love that story of, you're getting an email that someone's being rude or and then to see your two options, meaning, okay, I'm actually the one not in the dream. I'm just aware of the options and everything. That's really helpful because now I can take moments in my day to just be that observer.
Recognize. Yeah. Yeah. So you are that
Yeah.
observer.
Yeah.
And so you can just see from clarity, oh, hang on a minute, there's something dancing here.
Mm,
And it's that broad open view, the big picture.
yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, it's appearing in the space that I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the space is unaltered by whatever appears. Born
Mm,
out of the space, born out of what you are, the spaciousness. But you never become the appearances. You never leave the absolute. The absolute is all appearing in the absolute. It's what's giving
mm,
birth to it. The absolute isn't in the game.
right.
There's no opposites, no attributes, nothing that can be pinned down and spoken about. You can't pin
Right.
it down.
Yeah. That's really, I don't want to use the word peaceful, but it is.
Yeah, because everything's okay, no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
There's
you
not,
don't take care of what's happening.
yeah, obviously
Yeah, there's wisdom
there's
there.
something.
There's wisdom.
Yeah.
And wisdom
Yeah.
operates from response rather than react. It's
Yeah.
operating in um, wholeness rather than lack. So the
Mm,
separate self is vulnerable and something's happening and they've got to, it's a reaction and it's a survival. Whereas this, so I was driving the other day and my son was taken into hospital. He'd not actually been admitted yet. And I was driving, it was quite late at night, and then this deer shot out in front of me, so close to the car. So I dabbed the brakes as much as I could because it was right there. I mean, it was out on
mm,
the edge. It was in my headlights. It was, I could see the fur, I could see everything. It was,
yeah.
and I just carried on driving. There was no fight or flight response.
Wow.
It was just what was appearing.
Response. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, there is like some calm wisdom, I would say, that is aware of everything, doesn't need to calculate it all, doesn't need to sort it all out. It's just calm.
Right.
And then afterwards, there's not that, oh my God, that nearly happened. And there's none of that. You're just going, oh, how interesting.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know that that wisdom knows you're untouched by all of this anyways. So
So
there is no
what?
threat.
Yeah, the point of view doesn't die because it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
The point of view is created.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't experience, if there'd been an accident, doesn't mean I wouldn't have experienced pain and all of that. But yet again, if we're not identifying as the pain's happening to me, there is pain appearing in the space.
Mm,
And then the pain is experienced differently. So I've had that as well. I've experienced pain. And and it's not like I just took it as an exercise. I just stubbed my toe really hard. And I was like, oh, this will be interesting. So instead of,
mm,
I could have resisted it. There's still always that potential. So, and I just
yeah.
thought, oh, let's just experience what this is without resistance. And it was just um, a very rich experience.
A bigger dance when there's like a heavier.
Yeah. So there was no separation. So I was the pain, basically.
Mm,
So then the pain was just an experience of, can't put words to it, just this. It was a movement
ah,
that I experienced it as a movement, as a rich, deep movement that I
mm,
was, rather than, oh, I don't want it. It's my.
right.
So this is if life then just gets to learn about itself, recognizing it's not separate, how it can experience life differently. And we're not in
Mm,
survival mode.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. I don't think you need the month's mentoring.
No, I loved this. I think I needed to just step away from the learning
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just give myself permission to go straight to experiencing as much as I can.
Yeah. And you knew
The
that.
direct.
Yeah. You put that in your email that it was you recognized that direct experience was the key.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm really glad that I got to chat with you today.
You can still experience gratitude for like, oh, I'm so glad I came on the call because if you hadn't, you would have still in the story, would have still been searching. You would have still, so there's
Mm,
it's so, and I think that's lovely. Like I still have so much
yeah.
gratitude for David for what he does, because there's still that sense that I could have still been lost. And of course, I know I
Never
fundamentally am not
was.
lost, but that's the experience that would
Hmm.
have been
That's
still playing.
exactly
So going to somebody is just like, oh my goodness, why did I not do this before?
it. Yeah.
Again, it's perfect. Life wanted to experience all of that separation or just have the joy of recognizing it was always home. So
Yeah.
don't let the mind tell you, well, this is a bit, you mean all of that for just this?
Mm,
It'll offer that, but it's just total freedom that can
yeah.
seem very just normal because it's what we've always been.
Exactly. I think there's a little bit of that, not let down, but there's a bit of, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you were
that,
always that.
yeah.
There's no,
So the mind, so just be careful that the mind doesn't get its teeth into that. The
okay.
thoughts
Yeah.
don't arise about, oh, so it was this, or oh, where's the bliss? Where's the joy? Because the longer our attention is on what we are, the more that blossoms. The more that because the joy,
Naturally.
because you don't need bliss because you're already whole and complete. Yet bliss arises.
Right.
You're like, oh gosh, there's the bliss. There's the
Right.
heart opening when you see somebody else. Because it's still in the sort of game, you're still life experiencing in unity and wholeness. So because we've got these vehicles. So it can feel at its least just okayness
Mm,
already. That's like that unpluggedness. Uh,
yeah.
well, it's just this.
Yeah. It's
And
just being. It's
and
just,
let that be enough. Who thinks it's not enough?
Yeah, the little eye.
Yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
comment. So is that it? Yeah,
yeah,
where's the enlightenment? Is that my next badge?
yeah. Where are the fireworks?
Yeah,
Where's the like?
yeah, why
Yeah,
am I not
yeah,
floating to work? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, let me turn off the recording. Sorry.
Oh,
Just
right.
realized we were still